Hi everybody, I'm Marci-Anne and I am the Recreation Director here for Spinnaker on Hilton Head Island and also their resident master naturalist. The star of the show, of course, is one of my favorite things. Our reptiles are in full action right now, and that means alligators, alligators, alligators. So a lot of people think that we have the same gators all the time. I will hear them at check-in and they're like, oh, is the gator back? And yeah, we'll have a gator. But generally it's not the same gator. So we don't like to get too close to kind of see what kind of personalities they have to kind of differentiate one from the other. But they are regional, so they'll stay within a zone. And so our alligators generally don't reach their sexual maturity until they're about 6 feet long. So it's not an age thing, it's actually a kind of a physical length thing. So usually they reach that length at about 10 to 12 years old. If I was to guess out there at their 5-foot length, are probably about 8 years old. Being that they're kind of juvenile, they could be two males that have kind of buddied up, or they could be from the same clutch. You want to say a range of where they will roam is usually it's about 1.5 to 3 miles is their range. You'll see all these retention ponds, and all these retention ponds come from one culvert, and it's kind of the system that we have throughout the island. That's where generally our alligators transport through. They like to transport through water. They can go much quicker underwater. They can go about 30 miles an hour underwater, but on land they're limited to about 10 miles an hour, which is still a pretty good clip. You always hear the saying that you should, if you're ever being chased by a gator, run in a zigzag. That's kind of an old wives' tale. Just try not to get an alligator to chase you is probably the best rule of thumb. Keep a nice healthy distance. They will have very quick and sudden bursts that they can go quite fast, but they are a reptile, so usually it's kind of short-lived. Hopefully you don't wear out before they do if they're coming after you. So, but that is a very, very, very rare occurrence. So if you're ever coming across an alligator, you're a little curious, a couple of things that people like to always guess how large they are. And so a quick and easy rule of thumb is that if you look between the eyes and the end of the snout, whatever that is in inches, generally you put that into feet. They are big. I mean, and they can get pretty wide too. Those are my favorite, the ones with the big jowls. As far as our general lengths, females are smaller than males. Females are usually about 9 to 10 feet. Males are usually about 10 to 13 is kind of their max. It's really rare to see a 10 to 13 foot alligator. And the reason why is because people are very afraid of alligators. And so when they see one, they will report it. And that means that a reported alligator is then called a nuisance alligator. If you've been on our properties, you've seen all the signs. A fed alligator is a dead alligator. There's a nice yummy turtle over there, a heron over there. They don't understand the difference between when we're fishing and we're doing a catch and release and we throw that fish back out into that pond. That looks exactly like if you just threw them a Big Mac. So, and we don't want to do that because we like to keep our alligators safe. People have done something to inhibit their environment, and they are now trained to come up to humans, and they're big and they're scary, and people will then call in on them and say they're a nuisance gator and they have to be removed. And removed means they're removed permanently. So please don't feed them, as tempting as it can be. And that brings into why don't we allow fishing in our ponds here. So that's why we're just adamant about making sure that we keep our people safe and we keep our alligators safe on Blue Water property and all of our properties here on Hilton Head Island.